Pretty sure it's gonna be second round or third round finish.
Are we going to see the Jourdain brother just terrorizing the bantamweight division in the UFC? Is that the plan?
Of course, that's the plan.
This is Fred Lambert with Combat Edge, and I'm joined by Louis Jourdain, who's making his Dana White Contender Series debut in just 2 weeks. So let's start it off right away by asking you, 2 weeks out from your biggest fight of your life, how are you feeling mentally? How are you feeling physically?
Feeling super good, going day by day. That's something I learned over the years is that you just look at what you're doing today. There's no tomorrow. There's no after. There's no fight. There's just today. You do your best, and that's all you can do. So I don't think anymore about all the mental stuff. I just train hard, rest, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Good to know. Good to know. All right. So obviously the biggest stage of your life so far, well, figure of speak, is still the apex, but you've done the walk quite a few times at the UFC with your brother. How do you think this is going to impact the fight day? Well, I know you're living it day by day, but if you can imagine, does it reduce the stress? Doesn't have an impact, or how you feel about it?
Well, first of all, my last fight was in Montreal in front of all my family, all my friends, all my sponsors, everything in front of Montreal where I'm from. So I think it was almost more pressure then because they're there, they're live.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to get knocked out or have a bad decision. So I feel like my last fight was even more pressure, even though more people are probably gonna watch. But yeah, like I said, I don't focus on all the mental stuff. Like I saw a sports psychologist a couple of years ago, and he said, don't look at what's around the fight. Okay, Dana White's there. Okay, the matchmakers are there. Okay, it's on UFC Fight Pass, all of that. But me, I have one job. I have 3 rounds of 5 minutes to beat one guy. That's it. So when I'm going in the fight, I'm not looking at the crowd. I'm not thinking about, oh, what if this happened? What if that happened? My family is watching. No. I have one job is to beat a guy, and that's it. I'm not thinking about, because I feel like when guys are stressed, it's because they overthink about everything, and this is where it can impair your performance. So I'm just thinking about the guy I'm fighting, 3 rounds of 5 minutes, the game plan, and that's it. Nothing's around.
All right, good to know. Speaking of who you're fighting, Magno Dias, fighting nerd coming from a big camp that had a lot of momentum until maybe the last few weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Still a big camp, still high level guys.
Yeah.
What do you know about him? Are you focus on him, or do you leave that to your coaches? How does it work for you?
Kind of both. I look at his stuff. My coaches do, but I feel like he's not a simple puzzle to solve. But I feel like my last fight was even more complicated than him.
Mm-hmm.
He's called the violence because he has good knockout. I think he never saw a decision. I think all of his wins are by finish.
Correct.
But all of that can work against him too. Because when we go to decision, like if he tries to finish me too much, he can not follow the game plan. And of course, he's coming from a big camp, but how many world champion we saw coming from small camp with all the focus on them? Like, I don't know how much focus he's getting with his camp, because they're all those champion, all those guys. So maybe he's put a bit to the side. We don't know. I'm just assuming, but it doesn't really affect me. Yeah, I just know he's a good fighter, a good finisher. He's righty, but sometimes he switches to southpaw. So it's just little things we watch to formulate a game plan. But also another thing I learned throughout the years is we all get a game plan until we get it. So we just formulate a simple game plan, and I know my mind will do what's need to be done on the moment.
Yeah, famous Mike Tyson quote.
Yeah,
Everybody has a plan until they get hit in the face.
exactly. And sometimes the guys they got a game plan, like take the guy down. But if it doesn't happen, then they freak out and then they don't know what to do. There needs to be a flow. This doesn't work, so I do that. And every round you adjust, and even then you adjust. And you got coaches, but who's the one that's been doing the sparring all those years? It's me. Like every time I'm sparring somebody, if something doesn't work, I do something else. And like I need to trust myself. and we formulate a game plan, but maybe it's gonna switch throughout the fight. I'm just gonna do what works and don't do what's not working.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And for people that don't know you, that haven't seen you fight yet, you're a big name here in Quebec. You fought in Canada too. You fought overseas as well. But I think you're going to be introduced to probably the American MMA audience more in 2 weeks for your fight. They already know your brother, of course, and obviously is your main training partner. So how would you describe your fighting style for the fans, what they can expect, and maybe like can you compare it to your brother, because that's what they know already?
Well, kind of like my brother, a similarity is that we're always looking for the finish. We never want to go to decision, because when you go to decision, you go to the end of the judges, and sometimes we've seen some bad calls, you know. So we're
Nah, I think
always trying to
Charles have
finish the
seen that.
fight. And I think everybody that watched my fight, they're never boring. I'm never in a boring fight, because sometimes I get a little bit stupid, and then I throw the game plan out the window. I just want to hurt the guy. I'm smiling. I'm feeling the fight, and I just want to do something impressive. Because at the end of the day, yeah, we want to win, but like the most popular fighter are the one that give good performance. You know, there's so many guys, just like my brother. How many times did he lose? And still, he's super popular. He's getting paid as well. And you see guys like 7-0 in the UFC. Nobody knows them. They're not getting paid because they're in boring fights. So at the end of the day, it's an entertainment industry, and kind of like WWE. Even though we know it's fake, it's entertaining. There's show, there's all of the stuff that's cool to watch. So we need to put on a show for the fan, and we're gonna get rewarded accordingly.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. You need to have big moments in those fights, and Charles was one that had big moments in the UFC. But for people who don't know his career prior to the UFC, he had plenty of big moments in TKO too, and so did you. So I recommend everyone go. UFC Fight Pass has a lot of your fights and your brother's fights from pre-UFC career. It's worth watching. So I guess you're calling for a finish. That's what you want. So how do you see the fight play out? You just manage to keep it on the feet and you outstrike him?
Yeah, that's pretty much the game plan, because I know how good I am on the feet. Knockout would be great, a TKO, but kind of like my last fight, like I just said, I fought a guy that was very good on the ground, but I couldn't hit him standing up. So as soon as he brought me to the ground on the second round, I adjusted, I flipped the position, and then I went for some good ground and pound, and then I finished him on the ground, because I knew if we went go stand up, he would just evade the punches. Knockout would be hard to get. So, you just adjust. I could submit him. I'm very good on the ground too. And we'll see how the fight goes. But pretty sure it's going to be second round or third round finish.
Oh, okay. Calling it around. We like that. Yeah, for people who haven't seen that, you can see it was on the Samurai fight card. Brutal ground and pound in this fight. All right. Well, I want to. Before that, I want to look a little bit into what your career is going to look like in the UFC after you get this done on October 1st. So you've bounced a little bit between flyweight and bantamweight lately. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this fight is scheduled for bantamweight.
Yes.
Okay. Is that just for Contender Series? Is that where you aim at, or you're still looking at flyweight?
I could do flyweight, but like, I've been getting bigger and bigger since my age is increasing. I'm 28 years old, and 125-pound division would be hard to go to, but it's still it could be. But I know from like sources that they want more 135ers. They prefer that weight division, and even the fan like. The 135-pound division is so stacked, so many good fights, and the flyweight isn't getting the recognition they're getting. So I think bantamweight should be my division. More opportunity, more good fights, and less of a brutal weight cut, because I'm around 155, 160 off cam. So flyweight is quite a long way to go. But I think there's more good matchup at bantamweight anyway. So
Bigger
yeah,
matchups.
I think that'll be it.
And your own brother just went down to the 135er where he's on a nice little streak right now. So Are we going to see the Jourdain brother just terrorizing the bantamweight division in the UFC? Is that the plan?
Of course, that's the plan.
All right, we'd love to see that. So the first Canadian brothers in the UFC at the same time. We'd love to see it. Can't wait to see you perform in the UFC, Louis. Good luck on the Dana White Contender Series fight.
Thank you very much.